a couple of different ways that we can find players outside of showcase events that maybe be historical players that we've seen are to go through the rankings and the prospect database. Let's look at a couple of differences as I explore those two features. When I go to the prospect database, what this is a compilation of every player that we've seen. And keep in mind, as we launched the site in May of 2013, players that we've seen for the last 3 years are all being continually added on a daily basis because there's still over 500 players that we have to put in. But every player that we've seen in the last year in our showcase season of 2012 to 2013 that began in September, every one of those players is now in the database with a couple of hundred other players that we've seen across the years that we're continually adding throughout this process of transitioning over. If I click on all position players or all pitchers, this will take me to a list of all of the available players in the site. If a player has a college commitment, they do not show up in this list. This is active players who have not given a college commitment or have not updated that through their personal site with us. As you'll notice here, you can alphabetize the list if you'd like to. You can sort it by if they have video or not. You can look at the state that they're from, their graduation year, height, position, overhand velocity. We can see who's got the best arm. You see Katie Meyer still in 70 miles per hour right now. You can sort by the lowest home to first time through the highest if you wanted to. And you can look at those things. If I wanted to go back here and look at all the pitchers, again, the pitchers give me some criteria to sort by. I can look at the best arm. You see that Emily Souls is at 66 miles per hour. And it'll allow me to update even things such as the running time so that maybe we're looking for athletes. Again, we're looking at all players within this. There's no scouting index assigned to this list. This is just a compilation of every possible player. So that if a coach really wanted to look for all 2013 pitchers or 2014 pitchers, they would have a way to do that very easily. Now, this is very drastically different from the rankings. When I click on the rankings menu button, the first thing that pops up is the scoutsoftball.com top 150 rankings database. The initial sort that shows up on the site is a list of the highest scouting index to the number 150 scouting index in our system currently. There's well over 150 players in our system, so this gives you an idea of where the top 150 are right now. As we look through here under the college tab, you'll see there are players that are committed, and these players will disappear as they graduate high school and begin college softball. So September 1 of this year, 2013, the 2013 graduates will be all removed from the rankings. All of the players that have committed already have been removed from the prospect database, but when these players go off to college on September 1st, the 2013s all get swept out of the database and the 2014s move up. And so you'll see a lot of significant movement around September 1st because there's some pretty big time commitments here in the 2013 class. But as you see here, there's a list, number 1s through 150 of the overall grades. You'll see name, position, college, state, graduation year, club team, high school, scouting information that we might have on these players. That might be a quick way to get a snapshot of these players. One of the coolest features of the new site is that I'm able to go through and populate a list in a couple of different categories. Your first drop-down menu allows you to see all players, which is consisted of unsigned or players that have committed. If I just want to look at committed players only, I can do that simply by selecting here that I'm looking at signed players. If I wanted to run that search, I click search now. It generates my search results, and in about 3 seconds, it'll pull up a rankings list of all the players who have committed. If I want to go back and search again, all I have to do is click on search again. Let's say this time I wanted to see all players because it's important for me to know how players that are unsigned compared to players that have signed that maybe I'm a little bit more familiar with. And so that if one of those players ranks ahead of someone I know very well, or perhaps is committed to my school, I know this is a player of interest that we probably need to look at. So I'm going to look at all players, and I'm going to look at 2014 players, and let's say I'm interested in outfielders. I click search now. In about 3 seconds, the list will populate, so the database goes through and finds all 2014 outfielders, and you'll see here the number 1 overall outfielders in the 2014 class. You'll see directly underneath her a couple of Division I commits, and these lists will populate to the top 50 results. You'll see here your search results showing the top 50 results. So any search that you run in the database will pull up 50. If we go to just a normal rankings page, the top 150 overall is the general sort that happens here. But you can go through the rankings and find things as specific as unsigned 2014 pitchers, and then this will give me a list that I'm looking for, and I know a lot of colleges will go through this during the fall, as I'm looking for who are the best unsigned 2014 pitchers that I can find information about this very moment. So the difference between the prospect database and the rankings is that in the rankings I'm able to run very specific searches that allow me to see how players grade out compared to other players. In the prospect database, I'm looking for everybody. So in case I have a lot of positions to fill, that allows me to do that. If I go through the rankings, it really paints a picture of how certain players compare to one another that I might be more familiar with, just so when you decide to recruit a player, you have as much information as possible on that player so that you're making a wise investment on spending time with your budget and your recruiting days to go see that player in action.